Good evening, everyone. Welcome to First Church of Religious Science. Whether you're joining us tonight on Zoom, YouTube, Facebook, or one of the other platforms, or listening to us on Spotify, I want to thank you for being with us. Your presence in this space means a lot to all of us. I'm deeply grateful that we're able to share this time together. This is always a space for healing, for growth, and reconnecting with the truth of who you are. Most of you know our community gets together 3 times a week. Wednesdays at 7 for the Creative Living series, our class, our Louise class right now, and every Sunday morning at 10:45 a.m. We start with a meditation on Sunday, followed by our lesson. So Thursday is our time for self-healing, using the book You Can Heal Your Life. Most of you are familiar with Louise Hay. She was a practitioner here at First Church, and she wrote the wonderful book, You Can Heal Your Life. Have you ever missed a session that we do here? Please know that you can watch it again 24 hours a day on YouTube or Facebook. So you can go there. There are links. Also, again, you can find us on Spotify, Instagram, X. So there's many, many ways to stay connected. A gentle reminder, before we begin, I'd like you to know that this community is sustained by love offerings. So if you ever feel inspired to support our work, you'll find options in the chat to do so. This is never an obligation. It's an invitation. Your presence and doing the work and benefiting from what we do is a gift in and of itself. So before we get into the material for this evening, let me say that this year has brought with it a lot of challenges, a lot of energy. Some of it was a little divisive, some uncertain, but all of it and everything is an opportunity for us to grow and for us to learn. We've been through an election. It's clear that there are many different opinions and passions in our country. And yet, beneath it all, we remain one human family. In fact, we all know from our teaching that we are one. We are one with this one energy. We are one with one another. As we gather tonight, let us then set aside the noise of the world and focus on what unites us and the truth that we share. Healing always begins within. When we choose to live from a connected place, a place of love, again, a place of connection, kindness, and self-acceptance, we're going to create ripples that will extend far beyond us. It'll go into our relationships. It'll go into our communities and into the world. It all always begins with us. So tonight's theme, like many nights, is on healing, self-healing, a time to reconnect with our own hearts and to remember this, that no matter what's happening in the world around you, the power of love and renewal is alive within you. So as I introduce the theme this evening, we're going to explore some simple and profound ideas. We're going to be talking about the connection between self-love and the love we offer others. You might recall Louise Hay, one of her more powerful statements, where she said, you cannot truly love others until you first love yourself. And at first glance, it might seem like that's just another inspirational quote. But when you think about it or when you unpack it, you'll find a truth. You'll find a truth that has the power to transform not just your relationship, but your entire life. Without self-love, any attempt we have to love others often carries what are called hidden agendas. In other words, it's important to love yourself first before you can really love another. And we carry these agendas sometimes without even realizing that we do. It might show up as needing somebody to make you feel better or more secure, and expecting other people to validate you, or wanting people to act in a certain way that will reassure you of your worth. And that's kind of a trap. So we often call it love, but sometimes it's love that's all tangled up with fear or maybe a little control or the need to feel more secure. And these things are signs that we need to turn our attention from the outer to the inner, and we need to focus on loving ourselves more deeply. So think about this for a moment for this evening. Have there been moments or times where you feel unsure, you don't feel good enough, or you don't feel like you're enough? Is that underlying conversation, "I'm not enough, I don't have," and do you look for reassurance from people, places, or things? Do you find yourself trying to, do something to earn someone's love? Maybe you tend to be a fixer, a consoler. Maybe you're the person who says yes, yes to just about everything. And possibly you're somebody who is sacrificing your own needs and your own authentic voice, hoping someone will stay or hoping not to offend. Uh, so these are all, when we're doing this, these things are, as my teachers used to say, a little bit suspect. Um, and it's something all of us have done at different times in our lives to varying degrees without probably even realizing it. The truth is, when we don't really truly love ourselves and accept ourselves, the love we give to others can sometimes come with strings. We might say, "I love you," but beneath the words, there's a quiet hope that person will love you back, and in a certain way, so you can feel okay with yourself. And uh, and when these unspoken expectations don't come back the way we want them to, it's easy for us to feel hurt or rejected because we have expectations, right? Uh, and it's not because the other person has let us down necessarily, but because we're looking we're looking on the outer. We're looking for them or someone to fill something in that really is ours to do. And no, we're really the only ones that can do that. So here's the good news with our teaching in this particular class. Uh, you have everything you need within. True love, the kind that sets both you and the other person free, begins with you. It begins by starting with you, starting to love yourself when you learn to love, accept, and approve of yourself. And when you do this, you don't have to look to others to complete you in any way. And you stop trying to fix or control other people because you've learned to embrace your own imperfections and you've learned to honor the sacredness of your journey and everyone's journey for that matter. You've come to realize that everyone is in the perfect place, perfect time, all the time. Loving yourself means recognizing the incredible truth of who you are. As I say week after week, you are an individualization of this spirit, of this divine, infinite essence, this energy, an individualization, meaning you're one with the one of a kind, a divine expression of life. With you have unique gifts and you have a presence that only you can bring into the world. When you see yourself as this, and when you see yourself in this way, love will flow naturally from you. You don't give love to you don't give love to get something back. You give it because it overflows from this connection you have, from this place of fullness within you. So let me ask you to reflect on this, or here's a question. What might change in your relationships if, for example, you no longer needed others to fill you emotionally, to fill any gaps? How might it feel to wake up each morning and genuinely look at yourself in the mirror and approve of yourself? If flaws and all, just the way you are, love yourself, say, I love you just the way you are. How would that feel? And this isn't always easy, maintaining this, but you're here learning to become your best friend, right? And this is part of the theme for this evening. It isn't always easy, but it's the kind of work, spiritual work, that changes everything. I love, accept, and approve of myself exactly as I am. It's one of the affirmations affiliated with the Louise Hay work. When you start to love yourself, you do this work more and more, not just in feel good moments, but in ways that say, I'm here for you. I see you. Look at yourself in the mirror and I got you. As you start to treat yourself with some love and respect, uh, when you do that, then your love for others becomes freer, purer, and more fulfilling for that matter. And that's the moment when love becomes very real. Before we go further along, I found a poem that I like from Howard Thurman that's especially meaningful at the holidays, Christmas time, at the end of the year. His words speak to something timeless. and the deeper work that we do here. All of us in this teaching are called in every season and throughout our life, not just Christmas time, I meant to say throughout the seasons of our lives. Thurman starts out by saying, when the song of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and the princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flocks, the work of Christmas begins to find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, and to bring peace among brothers, to make music in the heart. Yes, to make music in the heart. Let's take a moment to let those words settle in within us. Isn't it beautiful to consider the work of Christmas isn't about the outward activity? It's not about the decorations or the celebrations. It's about the inward journey. It's about releasing what no longer works, it's about releasing what no longer works, what no longer serves us. It's about healing what is broken and rebuilding inner peace. The sentiment of this poem aligns so beautifully with Louise Hay's teaching. She often said, letting go with love creates space for something new and wonderful to happen. So as we step into this sacred space together this evening, let's reflect on what we're ready to release with love. And let's see what we can make room for. Let's open our hearts with positive expectancy for the great things that are ready to unfold once we let go of this stuff. So as we honor this season of endings and beginnings, let's embrace the idea of releasing with love, not just something we do once a year, but let's let that be a daily practice. Let's have the practice of trading in the lesser ideas for the greater. This evening, we're exploring the transformative power of just having that deep self-love and self-regard. And as we do this, we're going to see shifts. Shifts will happen. Demonstrations will occur when we let go of old habits and beliefs that seem to be working against us. So take a deep breath in with me this evening. Now, let's begin this sacred journey of discovery. Let's embrace this simple, profound truth. You are worthy of your own love and care. Or you might say to yourself, I'm worthy of my own love and care. Together, we're going to uncover practical steps in this evening's gathering to release self-criticism, to replace fear with self-compassion, to nurture the most important relationship in our own lives, which is the one we have with ourselves. And this isn't about surface level positivity or quick fixes. We know that this is daily work. Everyone who tunes in here regularly knows that we're doing the work. It's about creating a deeper shift in how we engage with life, starting always from within. So our theme is becoming our own best friend, looking in the mirror and saying, I got you, and smiling at yourself and connecting with your own self. Becoming your own best friend as a path, doing that as a path to inner joy and empowerment. So let's start by talking about the greatest barrier to self-love. And it's, in a word, it's criticism, particularly self-criticism. Louise famously said, criticism never changes a thing. So let's refuse to criticize ourselves now and forevermore. That's what her exact quote was. Criticism never changes a thing. Refuse to criticize yourself now and forevermore. So we do that the best we can. So let's think about that for a moment. If criticism were the key to improvement, wouldn't we all be living a perfect life right now? Clearly, it's time for a gentler, more loving approach. Louise would call it the positive approach. Again, she's saying, criticism never changed anything. So let's refuse to criticize ourselves now and forevermore. Let's adopt the positive approach that Louise spoke of. Ernest Holmes, in The Science of Mind, reminds us that life reflects the energy we send out, what emanates from us. is announced in the world. Uh, the universe is always saying, yes, your wish is its command. So Ernest Holmes is saying it in a slightly different way. Life reflects the energy that comes out of us, that we send out. If our inner dialogue is harsh, judgmental, or unkind, it's no surprise that those same qualities show up in how we experience the world and how we treat others. Here's something to consider. If you find yourself quick to criticize others, pause, pause, and ask yourself, am I holding myself to that same impossible standard? Often, the judgments we place on others mirror the harshness that we direct inward. I've known people in my own life who've, had the finger out, should, they're using that word that Louise Hay hates so much. And I can see it, and I've been the receiving end of it too. Louise would say people shrink when you're doing that. Um, and I've often marveled when someone's really doing that, controlling it, using that language in that way. I had a lot of empathy for them because as tough as they're being on other people, they're really tougher on themselves. Um, so this part of her lesson, which she brings up that point, if you find yourself quick to criticize other people, pause and ask yourself, am I holding myself to that same impossible standard? See, often, again, the judgments we place on others mirror the harshness we direct inward. So we want to learn to be kinder to ourselves and kinder to others. And the more we extend kindness to ourselves, then the more naturally it will flow to everyone around us. Let's reflect. Imagine you're learning something new. I don't care. It could be anything. A program on your smartphone, or maybe you're cooking, you're learning a new recipe or a new app or anything. And your inner voice says, I can't do this. This is too much for me. I'm terrible at this. I simply can't do it. I can't. If you keep telling yourself you can't or you won't, or it's too much for you, um, what would that do to your motivation? How would you feel? You probably wouldn't feel very motivated. You probably are not feeling really good. Imagine if you could, instead of telling yourself everything you can't do or what you're not good at, saying to yourself, as you would a best friend, Look, I'm learning. It's okay to make mistakes while I'm learning. I'm doing my best." See, can you feel the difference between these two approaches? One is like very critical, and the other one's, you can do this. Might take you a while, but you're going to accomplish this. Can you feel the difference between these two places? Encouraging words create space for growth. Um, or think about the mirror again. Instead of noticing what you appreciate, you might focus. What we're encouraging you here to do is look at yourself and give yourself love and attention. But a lot of people look in the mirror and they don't want to look. So they look at what they don't want to see, and then they're upset. Where they focus on their hair might not be the way they want it, or they're gaining weight, or they're focusing on. They're coming from a place of criticism. How often, for example, do you start out your day with that kind of self-critical approach? It would be better if you could just get up, and start with a positive thought. Just one loving thought can shift everything. For example, you could say to yourself, if you're looking in the mirror, I'm grateful to my body for carrying me through this day. If you can start with a new thought, a new idea, it can change your entire perspective in the morning or the end of the day, or anytime you connect in the mirror, you can say, I love you just the way you are. And it can completely reset your perspective. Let's try this together. Place your hand over your heart, take a deep breath, and repeat after me. I release all criticism. I release all need to be critical. Again, I release all criticism. I release the need to be critical. I accept myself exactly as I am. I accept myself exactly as I am. Notice if this feels uncomfortable, that's okay too. It means you're letting go of old patterns that are rising to the surface so that they can be replaced with something better. Let's try it again. I approve of myself. I'm doing my best, and that is enough. I'm doing my best, and that is enough. The next time you notice a critical thought that comes up for you, whether it's about you or someone else, take that pause that we talk about all the time. Take that pause and catch that thought. Catch yourself when you're doing it and stop. Just catch it and stop and give yourself permission to reset that thought. You might even make a game out of it. Begin saying things like, say next, next, not true, not true, or cancel, cancel. You've heard my stories before. Joyce was a dear friend, student of mine many years ago, a British lady, and she would say, cancel, cancel in her wonderful British accent. And that stayed with me for many, many years. She wanted to cancel the judgments. Um, our judgments often signal an unmet need for love or understanding. So by offering love to yourself first, you naturally then create a space within yourself to extend it to others. When fear comes up, try this simple practice from my teacher, Dr. Bill. Pause and identify one small thing that's going well in your life. When you're feeling fearful, pause. Identify something that you can be grateful for, something that's going positive. Identify one small thing right now. It could be your children, it could be your pet, it could be the warmth of the sun as you look out the window, anything really. Louise Hay had her yellow roses. That was her shift thought. Take that pause and take a small shift in your focus, and then it can remind you that in this moment, all is well, that you are safe. When we trust instead of fear, we create space for clarity. We create space for solutions, and we create space for peace to flow into our lives. So let's affirm, I release fear and I embrace peace. I trust that life is unfolding for my highest good. By choosing trust over fear, we create a life that feels open, safe, and filled with possibility. There's another principle in this particular section that Louise Hay offered, which was being kind, being patient. And guess who she's talking about? Being kind and being patient with yourself. And she said, life is like a garden. You plant seeds of thought, you nurture them, and you trust them to grow. So let's try something, another little exercise from Louise Hay book. Clasp your hands together, and now clasp them in the reverse way you normally do. It feels a little bit odd, doesn't it? That's how change feels at first, but with practice, it becomes second nature. Ask yourself the question, what seeds am I planting in the garden of my own mind? Am I being patient with myself as they grow? You can repeat after me. I am gentle and kind with myself as I grow. I trust in the timing of my life. I am gentle and kind with myself as I grow. And remember one of my teachers, Dr. Bill's famous line, there's nobody nicer to be nicer to than you. So another principle from this particular section from my Louise Hay classwork. Louise taught us every thought we think creates our future. So tonight we're in the age of social media. I like you to think of your mind as a social media feed. You could be on Facebook, Instagram, or think of your mind as your social media feed. If it's filled with negativity, and if your mind is filled with negativity and self-doubt, what would you do? Well, I know what I would do. I would unfollow those thoughts, and I would start filling my feed with positivity instead. So think of it like your social media feed. Unfollow and start filling your feed with positivity instead. I was told many years ago that religious scientists, people who practice this teaching, are the applauders of life. We're here to applaud. So it's time to shift gears from criticism to praise. Louise reminded us, criticism breaks the spirit, but praise builds it up. So let's release the need for criticism. Here's a fun challenge for you. Think of one thing you did today that you're proud of. And some of you might say nothing, but think harder. Think of one thing today that you're proud of. It can be anything. Doesn't have to be big. Maybe you made somebody smile, somebody laugh. Maybe you did something wonderful. Maybe you handled a tricky situation with grace. Maybe you just got out of bed, even though you didn't feel like it. So say aloud in your mind, I'm proud of myself for this. Whatever the one thing is, I'm proud of myself for this one thing. Maya Angelou said it beautifully. She said, the wisest thing you can do is to be on your own side. That's a great line. The wisest thing you can do is be on your own side. So what would it look like to truly stand by yourself and be on your side the way you would stand by the side of your best friend? Good questions. Let's affirm together. I'm proud of who I am. I'm proud of who I am, and I'm proud of who I'm becoming and all that I'm becoming. And if there's some little voice that comes up and says, oh no, who are you kidding? Just smile. Just don't pay attention. Say thank you for sharing, but I'm proud of who I am and all that I'm becoming. Release the need for the other stuff. Your spirit deserves your praise. It's what builds the foundation for everything you're becoming. Praise, praise, and more praise. I have a little meditation about embracing self-love. We can take a moment, pause, and center ourselves. You can close your eyes if you want to for a moment. Take a deep breath. Let it go in and out. Imagine yourself standing in front of a beautiful mirror. And notice that your reflection is looking back at you, not at all with judgment, but with kindness and curiosity. Now look into that mirror. Say to yourself, I love you. I really love you. I admire you. And notice what feelings arise. Maybe you feel joy or warmth, or maybe possibly some resistance shows up, and that's okay if it does. Whatever comes up, it's okay. Just let it be. Now picture your reflection smiling back at you, and notice that it's radiating love, understanding, and acceptance. Affirm, I am willing to love myself exactly as I am. I am safe, I am loved, and I am enough. Take in another deep breath. And as you exhale, imagine this love expanding, filling every part of your being. Feel it wrapping you in warmth and light, like a comforting embrace. Rest in the feeling of self-love for another moment. As we go on in our exploration about becoming our own best friend, let's talk for a moment about the essential part of self-love, which is learning to ask for and accept support, accept love. Louise reminds us, asking for help is a sign of strength. So let me ask you this question. Are you allowing yourself to receive the support? Are you allowing it to come in? Or are you trying to carry everything on your own shoulders? Sometimes we resist asking for help because we think it somehow makes us look weak. But think about this. Why would you ever judge a friend for leaning on you or asking for help? Of course not. So why not offer yourself that same grace? We all deserve love, kindness, and connection, not because of anything we've done or how much we've achieved, but simply because we exist. Let's affirm this truth together. I am surrounded by love and support. Yes, I'm surrounded by love and support, and it's safe to ask for help. This group, this wonderful group, this moment is part of your support system. Just by being here, you've said yes to living in connection. Just by doing your best to practice this teaching, you're saying yes to life. And together, we're a very strong group. We are all saying yes to this connection to life. As we continue on with this discussion, let's take a final moment to release anything that we haven't done already this evening. Sometimes it's not the big challenges but the small, unnoticed patterns that quickly get us stuck. Louise reminds us letting go with love creates space for something new to come in. So think about your own life for a moment, how much you've learned, how much you've accomplished. Are there any habits left or beliefs or memories that would be good for you to let go of? Memories or things that are heavy still? Are you carrying any baggage that's just a little too full? Maybe you're carrying a comment that somebody made a long time ago or even recently that hurts or lingering in your mind. Maybe it's the habit of saying yes more often than you want to. Maybe yes to everything while saying no to yourself. So taking a deep breath, gently bring any of these patterns into your mind, not with judgment, but with compassion. So here's I think your last opportunity for this evening to release one more time. Imagine setting whatever pattern it is aside. It's like taking off a heavy coat. At the end of the day, you've carried it long enough, right? You don't need it anymore. So let's affirm together. I release this with love. I make space for something new and something beautiful. As we release, we honor the journey that has brought us here. Remember this, no matter what's happened, you're not wrong. You've always done the best you could with what you knew at the time. And that's true for everyone. So now with greater understanding, we have the power to move forward, not in anger or in regret, but in connection, in love, and with a renewed sense of possibility. Life is ready to meet your need with open arms always. You can trust the process of life. All you have to do is create the space, open up yourself in consciousness. What are you approaching the ocean of life with again? So let's have big buckets and positive expectancy. Again, all we have to do is create the space and let it in. The kingdom's always at hand. Together, in our gatherings, we're elevating the energy of love, compassion, and possibility. So let us hold in our hearts a deep sense of gratitude for ourselves, for each other, and for this great community that gives us an opportunity to grow and heal together. I'd like to anchor this moment in with a simple and powerful affirmative prayer. We recognize the infinite presence, the source of life, love, and all creation. This presence flows through us, and as us expresses itself perfectly in every moment. I affirm that each person here is a unique, divine expression of this creative intelligence. Each of you, a living embodiment of love, wisdom, and infinite potential. Right here and now, we release anything that no longer serves us, making space for greater good, greater joy, and a deeper peace to unfold. We walk forward with confidence, knowing we are divinely guided and supported all times. Whatever challenges arise, we meet them with grace and strength, remembering the truth of who we are. We are infinite beings with limitless possibilities. We trust that all is unfolding in perfect order, and we're always held in the embrace of infinite love. For this and much more, I give thanks. And so it is. So now it's time for us to open the floor to hear from anyone who wants to share. We have time for a couple of minutes for everyone. I'd love to hear what you're releasing or any insights that you have from our time together. Your voice is important. It matters. We're here to support and celebrate each other in this community. Thank you again for being part of the gathering. Each of you are truly a gift to all of us. And so it is. Thank you.